Yeah, I know this review is late, but however, I was so caught up with other reviews with other release dates. But however, still really want to get my thoughts on Samurai Jack Season 5. Now, to be honest, I've never seen any other seasons of Samurai Jack. I've never watched Samurai Jack in my life up until Season 5. Not even a clip, not even an episode. I never grew up on Samurai Jack as a kid. In fact, for the longest time when I was a kid, I actually thought Samurai Jack was actually Professor Utonium from the Powerpuff Girls. Then again, both shows were created by Genndy Tartakovsky. He also made Star Wars Clone Wars. Sadly, that's not really canon anymore. Luckily, going into Season 5 was actually pretty easy because they do show that there was a cliffhanger in Season 4 for Season 5, but I guess the show got canceled for the longest time up until now. But even then, I was able to ease into Season 5 very easily without having any knowledge of the previous seasons. And I gotta say, this season contains some of the most breathtaking scenes in any animated series. I mean, for one, the art direction it's just beautiful. Almost every shot, almost every landscape could be put on a wall as a painting. I mean, this is something that Genndy Tartakovsky does really well with his shows. He has a lot of really good art direction and knows exactly what his vision is. And that's even more true because he personally directed every single episode of Season 5 so that he could get it just right, just where he wanted it. And I gotta say, he really succeeded on this. I'm actually really wondering if he was inspired by Stanley Kubrick, because there's many shots where nobody is speaking, but it just lets the visuals tell the story, and again, with such beautiful imagery. I legitimately want to know if Stanley Kubrick inspired him. Phil Amari gives a pretty unique performance in Samurai Jack Season 5. He's not only very vulnerable, but he's also very wise, but when he has to throw down, he will throw down, and it ain't pretty. I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. But yeah, Phil LaMarr delivers an incredible performance, even though a lot of the character really does rely on visual storytelling rather than him actually speaking. But whenever he does speak, it's great. Tara Strong, one of my favorite voice actresses, in fact no, she is my favorite voice actress, considering her body of work. She gives a performance in this that's probably one of her best in years. Not to say that she's done bad performances, but this really does stand above a lot of her performances. And I don't feel like I should say who she plays, because if I say who she plays in this season, I feel like it'd be a spoiler in itself, because that would mean that that character has an important arc throughout the series. And I know that doesn't sound like a spoiler, but trust me, unless you've seen the series, then I'm just not going to say it, because I truly, wholly feel like that if you don't know anything about this character, or even who voices her, I feel like it'll make it even more surprising once you see that character more fleshed out. But nevertheless, like I said, I loved Tara Strong in this season. She was incredible, and she gives one of her best performances in quite some time. The villain in the show, I guess, overall, but in this season specifically, Aku was a very entertaining character. He not only was pretty threatening at times, considering what he could do, but he's also really funny. Whenever someone calls him up, even though he's busy, he's just like, "What?" I mean, I just love villains like that, how they're just so cynical and funny. And I guess this actor named Mako originally voiced Aku, but, since then he's passed on. So an actor named Greg Baldwin is in this season, and he's really good. I don't know how he compares to Mako, because like I said, I haven't really watched Samurai Jack, the entire series, just this season. But for what this season's worth, he's great. I loved him. And a little tidbit, I actually heard that Greg Baldwin usually does voice a lot of roles that Mako voiced. And I did not know this when I was watching it. I only found out when I was actually reading the IMDb page. But apparently Keegan-Michael Key, yes, that Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele, has a cameo in this series. Because apparently he plays this old bartender who used to be this guy called Samurai. He doesn't play any important role in Samurai Jack. He just exists solely to be there. Probably because he's Keegan-Michael Key. But it was pretty funny. And it's not really a flaw because, you know, I really like Keegan-Michael Key. He's a really funny actor. I think he's one of the best comedic actors in the 2010s. For what little screen time he's given, he's pretty funny. I don't know if Samurai existed previously on Samurai Jack, but I don't know. I mean, I'm only assuming that he only exists just for this one scene, but whatever the case, Keegan-Michael Key is really funny in his brief cameo. Now, like Logan, which in my opinion is the best superhero movie in the past 5 years, the bloody violence in this season, which was not in the previous seasons, for me, did not feel like a gimmick. Like, it didn't feel like, oh, let's do bloody stuff just so we can do it to drag in the original audience. No, it really does serve a purpose, and it does serve the story. Because apparently in the previous seasons, Aku would send robots to kill Samurai Jack. And, you know, for a kid's show, that'd be fine, because, you know, the guy's killing robots, so, I mean, there's not really going to be any blood. Because in Season 5, Aku has, I think, 6 daughters. From the second they were born, they were raised with the knowledge that Samurai Jack is the villain, and that they need to kill him. And once you actually see that into fruition, it really does create a lot of moral dilemmas, especially when you get into episode 3 and you see the snow battle sequence. My god, this fight scene is so visceral. It is so just dirty, and no, not dirty as in porn. I mean, it's just, you really feel the hits. You really feel the pain that the characters are going through, the physical pain. And I wasn't kidding about Jack. This guy has just had it. He's been through so much pain in his life, and he doesn't even care anymore. I'm not gonna go into detail of what he does, but, yeah, this is not the same Samurai Jack you grew up with as a kid. As for issues with Season 5, because, like, for me, television is harder to be perfect for me. Because with movies, it's like maybe an hour and a half to 3 hours, you're done. And, you know, it's harder to find flaws because, you know, when you look at that compared to a season of television, there's most likely going to be less flaws. And with Samurai Jack Season 5, there are a couple. For one, in the first episode, they're like these aliens that have these antennae, well, I don't know what it is. But basically, they communicate with pictures that sort of are in between the antennae. But however, once Jack comes along for the first time, saving these two from these evil things, I don't know what they are. I mean, the little girl just has this face like, but however, the little picture thing between her antennae says, Jack? I didn't really need you to do that. I personally would have preferred it if she just did not see anything, and it was just her facial expressions just going, I mean, because we know that's Jack, and especially from the look on her face, I mean, that would be solidified that that is Jack. I just don't know why they had to have the whole thing between her antennae say Jack when she saw him. I think between I think it's maybe episode 6 or 7. It's one of those episodes, 6, 7, or maybe 8, I'm not completely sure. But Jack goes through a transformation. But I feel like it's done a little bit too abruptly. Like, they could have really taken their time with this. Like, maybe psychologically, he's back, but however, physically, we could have actually seen that transformation take a hold instead of just, everything magically being back to the way it was for him physically. I just feel like from the physical transformation part, I feel like they should have taken a little bit more time with that. And now I'm going to talk about the series finale. This has everybody split. Like, you either love the last episode, especially how it ended, or you just flat out hate it. So, what did I think? I almost hated it. Almost. Now, I'm okay. In order for me to really delve into this, I'm going to have to put a little spoiler warning here. Don't worry, you can mute this. This thing will still be on until I'm finished with the spoilers. Once you see this go away, you can turn back up the volume, and I will not say a spoilerish thing afterwards. You have my word. Now, I almost hated it for the completely different reasons why people did hate it. For a while, after Aku was defeated, I thought it was being wrapped up too nicely. Because Ashi, if you don't know, was being controlled by Aku because his blood is within her, and so he was able to physically control her. And I was really hoping for that line to be drawn where Jack would be forced to kill her. And I wouldn't mind seeing that. But however, after Aku is defeated, everything seems all perfect for the characters. Like, I didn't feel like any sacrifices were being made. And as it kept going on and on and on, and especially when we start to see the wedding that Samurai Jack and Ashi are about to be bonded with, I still thought it was ending too perfectly. I was like, really, not a single sacrifice is being made. But that's where we see Ashi just completely disappear. Because apparently, if Aku had I forgot to say this previously, they went back to the past to stop Aku before he could destroy the future. So, they killed Aku, and back to when we see the wedding, Ashi says that she's deteriorating because if Aku had never existed, she wouldn't either. Which is true. And then once she, I guess you could say, dies or maybe just ceases to exist, again, right back to the beginning of this season, Jack goes into a complete depression. And I thought, oh my god, that is so great! I mean, it's not great for him, but I mean, I felt like finally a sacrifice was being made because I knew something was up because it was wrapping up too perfectly and I was about to hate how the series ended. But once we see Ashi disappear into non-existence, the episode just started to get even better because Jack just goes into self-exile once again, feeling depressed in this forest. But then a ladybug flies on his shoulder, or was it his finger? I don't know. And the thing is, previously in the season, Jack taught Ashi to embrace nature and how beautiful it is through a ladybug. And then he sort of reminded himself of why he taught her that. Why he changed her ways. Because peacefulness and tranquility is how you live life. I mean, fight when you need to, but in the end, I mean, living a peaceful life with happiness is what it's all about. And that living your life in sorrow and sadness is just unhealthy. And he learns the same lesson that he taught Ashi. And it's just done so perfectly. And it was so strange because I went from hating the way the series was ending to loving it and saying that it was the perfect way it could have ended. Guys, I loved Samurai Jack Season 5, and I just don't know if I can even go back to the previous seasons because this was so good. I feel like going back to the previous seasons would just sort of leave an taste in my mouth, considering how good this was. And I gotta say, Samurai Jack Season 5 gets a 9 out of 10. This should be a really good standard for TV revivals, because lately there's been some canceled television shows that are coming back, but I feel like Samurai Jack should show them how to do it. Take chances. I mean, don't always go bloody and gory, especially if it doesn't need it. I mean, I don't want to see Hey Arnold come back as Pulp Fiction or whatever, but if you're gonna bring back a series, then bring it back for your original audience, but also make it accessible to everyone else. Except Samurai Jack Season 5 is most certainly not for kids. I mean, if you show your kids this, I mean, good for you, I guess. But don't be surprised if they get horribly scarred by the fact that their childhood hero is killing many people. So, what'd you think of Samurai Jack Season 5? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like, share the video so we can get the channel circulated, and if you want to see more, click this.